With baseband content, either standard or high definition, each frame of the video stands on its own. It doesn't depend on the content in the frame before or the frame that follows. That's what makes it so easy to switch cleanly between different baseband sources. We do it all the time at a production switcher, camera 1, camera 2. MPEG, it's not that easy. The line is blurred a little bit between the contributions of the original content that came frame by frame and the MPEG stream itself. If we look at how the MPEG stream is structured, we see a group of pictures, or GOP. Commonly for MPEG-2, GOP would be, say, 15 frames of the original baseband material. As we look at the beginning of the GOP, the first frame is an I frame. That's an intra-coded frame, meaning that all of the content needed to define that frame comes from within that frame. That's the one frame that stands on its own. What follows are P frames and B frames. Those you could think of as representing change information. They tell the decoder how successive frames in the content differ from that I frame. Remember the I frame? He came a few frames back. Don't forget him, Mr. Decoder. You're going to need him to decode the rest of this GOP, or group of pictures. So now, as we look through the rest of the GOP, we'll see a series of P frames and B frames. The arrows here indicate how the content in those frames moves forward and backward to be used by the decoder until we get to the end of that group of pictures, the end of that GOP, and now we have the I frame for the next GOP. So you can see that it's a much more complex topic now if we're going to switch cleanly between two MPEG transport streams. We can't switch at just any old frame, because if we switch partway into a GOP, the decoder, when it receives that, will be told, here's some change information, but it's change information that related to an I frame it doesn't have.